postcard from a Florida Keys visitor to a landlocked North Texan is a welcomed reminder of the possibility of a vacation-filled dream filled with island shorelines under an ocean sunset. Sometimes there are transplants from the Lone Star State that find permanent residence inside an island paradise.
Here you go. This one's for Ranger.
Meet Ranger. He arrived here a year ago this week.
Ranger! Do you want to jump with him? Okay, we're out. There he is again. You go.
A juvenile bottlenose dolphin was rescued off the coast of Texas in a place called Goose Island near the coast of Corpus Christi. The National Marine Fisheries Services selected Dolphin Research Center in Marathon as Ranger's permanent home. Here, he's recovering from a respiratory infection and dehydration and thriving in his forever home.
Okay, I got it. And the Texas State Aquarium got a call about a little dolphin that had stranded, was like in shallow water. When they got there, they found this little guy. He was about maybe a year and a half old at the time.
He was stranded in the worst way.
Unfortunately, his mother was beside him, but she had already passed away.
Oh.
So he was alone. Mom, dad definitely needed to be rescued.
Meet Linda Erb.
Linda, you've been here how many years?
44 years.
That is incredible.
At the Middle Keys Dolphin Research Center, a place rooted with a Hollywood past.
Movie stars have been discovered in many different places. But now for the first time, a glamorous new star has been discovered in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It's Flipper, the fabulous dolphin.
It's known for pioneering dolphin research and educational programs for visitors to inspire marine mammal conservation. In fact, some of Flipper's descendants still reside at Dolphin Research Center.
Speaking of the original Flipper, this girl's grandparents were in the original Flipper movie, so she still is like drawn to the camera. I guess it's in her blood. You are shameless. It's Ranger's shoot. Thank you for the presents, though.
It's easy for the spotlight to shine bright on dolphins. They have charisma and a Hollywood smile. But there are other areas where a bright light is needed to raise awareness about a desperate need for conservation.
In the years past, we've had anywhere from 50 to 60% coral cover along Florida's coral reef, but over the last several decades, between disease and many other stressors, we've actually hit an all-time low, which means that in our lifetime, it cannot naturally recover on its own.
Allison DeLashmet is with Mote Marine Laboratory here at Mote's newest land-based facility in Key Largo. Her mission is to educate.
Only about 1% of the ocean floor is covered by coral reefs, but 25% of all marine life spends some part of their life cycle in or around coral reefs.
And restore.
So what you're looking at is a land-based coral nursery. That's exactly like what it sounds. We're growing coral here that will ultimately end out on the reef.
Fragmentation is a huge part of regrowing the coral reef.
And fragmentation is a big part of that process.
Yes.
You're going to let me fragment.
You are.
Some
You're going to
coral.
actually become a coral scientist today.
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
do it.
Fragmentation is a huge part of regrowing the coral reef.
The thing with microfragmentation is the idea that we can cut these corals into teeny tiny little pieces, which will then assist them to grow later.
But restoration of something so valuable as the coral reef requires more than one single effort. It requires cooperation by like-minded people committed to the cause of sustainability. This is Sarah Fangman, Superintendent of the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary, protecting all waters surrounding the Keys island chain.
The mission of the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary is to protect the unique habitats that we have here in the Florida Keys. And our job is to make sure that people can enjoy them, but that they can be sustained for the future.
She shares a passion for the sustainability of the coral reef.
Because guess what? This is a national treasure. We do not have another coral reef system like this in the continental United States. It's the only one we have. And so enjoying it, absolutely, but help us protect it.
She works with other Florida Keys locals who are in the business of tourism that are recruited to become Blue Star operators. Blue Star diving and fishing operators are trained to make sure visitors to these precious islands are not leaving any unsustainable impact.
look before you book, because if you are working with a Blue Star operator, you know that that individual has had the accurate training that your visit to this beautiful area in the Florida Keys, that you're walking away without leaving any major footprints except those footprints in the sand.
You see, it's all about making a lasting connection without leaving any lasting traces on the environment. And let's face it, some connections are easier than others. It's these connections to our shared environment that will inspire a collective effort to preserve this ecosystem.
But the connection that people make, you can then use that to get them to become conservationists, to care about the wild, right? We're the type of species, unfortunately, people are that unless we care about something, we don't really work to protect it. It has to touch our heart, right? These guys are natural at touching hearts.